If you've got something to ask, ask.
No.
Is that right? Might be time to take a step back. But if it weren't for Sid, I'll be here if you need me.
Sid, I was wondering if you could help me.
It depends what with.
A bearer, but recently freed from his bonds, is keen to join the Curse Breakers. As you know, the work we do is not easy, which is why we test every volunteer's suitability. I was hoping you could oversee this one's evaluation.
I don't mind, but why this one?
Because he wants to be a scout. Our ranks are filled with men and women capable of breaking chains and putting slavers to the sword. But scouting, we're few with the nose for that, which is why we still rely so heavily on Gav. And since he accompanies you on so many of your missions, I thought you might be better placed to recognize the traits in him that we should look for in those who'd fill his boots.
Sounds reasonable.
So you're happy to oversee the boys' test, then?
One can never have too many scouts.
Truer words, Sid. I'll let the initiate know that you'll be attending his trial, and that he is to proceed directly to Northreach in readiness.
No time like the present, eh?
No time like the present. I'll await you there.
Northreach. I don't suppose they could have chosen somewhere closer. Nazaire might at least have mentioned where in Northreach he'd be testing this recruit.
I'm nervous. Is it all right to be nervous?
I don't care either way, so long as you do as I tell you. Well met, Sid. This is the initiate. Ember, present yourself.
At your service, Master.
Please, just Sid. There are no masters here. Your life is your own.
Oh, of course. Thank you, Sid. The sergeant says you'll be evaluating me at my trial.
To become a scout, yes. You are aware of the dangers inherent in that role.
I am. But I swore I'd face them. Just like the man who saved my life.
And who would that be?
Gav. It was him who found me and freed me. No magic, no support, just one man and his nose. Came and sniffed me out. It taught me what one man can do if he puts his mind to it. And I've been training ever since, so that one day I can be someone's saviour, just like Gav was mine.
I'm sure he'd be flattered. You clearly have good intentions, Ember. And it sounds like you're under no illusions. Stick to this path and you'll make a fine Cursebreaker.
So, what? Have I passed?
You haven't even started yet. Now listen. Not far from here is an Imperial lookout, Eastwatch. The guards there record all their sightings in a logbook. You are to find it and bring it here.
And bring it here, right. Anything else?
No. Sneaking into a heavily guarded Imperial outpost and stealing the logbook would be quite sufficient. You'll need to assess the situation, determine a point of entry, create a distraction and effect an escape, all without being discovered and thrown into an Imperial oubliette.
Ember, Gav isn't our best scout because he can do everything. It's essential that you know your limits.
Know my limits, right. I won't let you down.
It shouldn't be as dangerous as I made out. But keep a weather eye on him all the same, would you?
On my way. All right, Ember. Impressed me.
Even now, the capital has moved. The Empire keeps the watchtowers overlooking royal meadows and the Sea of Grace manned. But only by a skeleton crew. It's a trial, not a death sentence.
These are clean kills. Perhaps young Ember really is ready. Or maybe not. Damn it. Ember, draw your sword!
I can't!
Then run! If you want him, you'll have to go through me. Nice try. All yours, Torgal. All yours, Torgal! All yours, Torgal! Now, Torgal! Waken wind! Torgal, kill! Now, Torgal! All yours, Torgal! Ember, are you... Gone. Of course. Scouts really are a rare breed. Back to Northreach it is, then.
I didn't expect you back so soon. Where is Ember? How did he fare?
I thought I'd find him with you. He must have fled. I followed him to Eastwatch, where I found him being set upon by a wild Avis. He was just standing there. Didn't even draw his sword. I had to step in and take care of things. But by the time I had, he was nowhere to be seen. I assumed he'd set off in your direction, but apparently not.
I'm sorry, Sid. I knew the boy had a nervous streak, but he seemed like...
The right man for the job? I believe this is the logbook you tasked me with retrieving.
Eh? How did you... Don't you tell me you breached the tower while Sid was busy saving your skin.
What? Wasn't that what you asked me to do? To bring the thing back without getting caught?
He has you there, Nazaire. And he did it all on his own.
But Sid, he
did what he thought was best. And now I have to decide whether I agree.
Of course. We'll await your evaluation back at the hideaway. Don't you leave my sight.
Yes, Sergeant.
This won't be an easy decision.
There's something about it.
You should have seen him. The thing didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, neither did you, I hear. Welcome back, Sid.
Welcome back, Sid.
Yes. Welcome back. Trip wasn't too much of a pain in the arse, I hope. Truth be told, it was me who suggested roping you in to help with the trial. But from what I hear, things didn't go quite as planned.
No, they most certainly did not. Ember lost his nerve in the face of a beast of prey, but he didn't lose heart. He pressed on, and he achieved his aim. And is that not what we ask of our scouts?
Indeed it is. Thank you for your honest appraisal, Sid. The fact remains, however, that Ember will not always have a battle-hardened warrior on hand to pluck him from the jaws of peril. All I have gleaned from this trial is that without someone watching his back, Ember is little more than a liability.
Wait, Sergeant. Ember still has much to learn, it's true. And this time he was found wanting. But I'd say he's due a second chance, nonetheless. After all, he did do as you asked.
With a bit of hard work, any hand can be made to hold a blade, and any mind can conquer its fears. But a scout's nose is different. You've either got one, or you ain't. And by sniffing out that log, young Ember here has shown he has a conk and a half. Wouldn't do to waste it now, would it?
Fine. One more chance.
I'll do whatever you ask. I'll spend my days and nights in the pit if I have to. I'll show you. Just you wait.
Daft as a brush, that one. But his heart's in the right place. Just like someone else we know. And if you ask me, we've been leaning on him for far too long. That time the curse breakers took some of the weight off his shoulders, I reckon.
It couldn't hurt.
Just don't tell Gav I said so, will you? I won't have him thinking he's been hard done by. Next thing you know, he'll be asking for a day off. Chance would be a fine thing. Back to work.
Forgive me, Sid. This did not play out as I expected.
Things rarely do these days. But that's why we need men like Ember more than ever. Men who can make the best out of a bad situation. Remember that.
I will, Sid. Thank you. Sid, I wanted you to know. I will be taking personal responsibility for Ember's combat training. And I will not let you down.
Sid, do you have a moment?
By all means.
It's my old master. Seems there's no escaping her. She found some way to send me a letter. And something else. Records from a Waluda prison. Seems they were keeping a lot of bearers there.
How did she come by such a thing?
Finding bearers always was her strong point. And it seems the cells of Balmung Dark are full of them. Foreign captives, the masterless. Bearers no one would miss. And even better for her, bearers with no one to look after them. When ether started lapping at the walls, the jailers fled.
Leaving the bearers to be liberated by whoever happened to come along next.
Sid, I'd like to believe that I've earned your trust by now. And while I'm well aware that you've forbidden Cursebreakers from traveling to Waloed, I can't let those bearers die in their cells. I'd rather risk shipwreck on the Shadow Coast than leave them to starve.
We'll be needing the Enterprise if we're going to navigate the Narrow.
Does that mean...
I'm making an exception, but we travel together. And we stay no longer than we have to. Ash is an inhospitable place at the best of times. We save as many as we can, and we leave.
Thank you, Sid. There was a name in the prison register. A name from my past. Chadwick. Another of my former master's protégés. A gifted soldier, and the closest thing I had to family. The thought of him held captive in that place.
He must be very important to you.
He was. Is.
Then we find him.
The entrance to the prison lies in the shadow of Ravenwit Walls, just beyond the portcullis. We should head there as quickly as we can. I only pray there are still bearers alive to save.
As do I, Doris.
How long has it been since the jailers of Balmung abandoned their charges? Without food or water, they won't last long.
Let's go. Doris is waiting for me near Balmung Dock. The longer she's out in the open, the more likely she is to be found by Akashic. I need to hurry. Time to fight. That'll do, girl. There were no guards, I take it.
None manning the gates, no. It's a different story inside, though. The corridors are crawling with Akashic. Most likely guards left behind when the Wardens ran. If Chadwick was being held here, I worry that he may already be.
Don't give up hope just yet, but let's move quickly. Let me check the ground floor. The ether's thickest there.
Then I'll search the upper level. Good luck, Sid. Stay safe.
Just how bad are the floods inside the walls? Bad enough to turn a bearer. I hope not. We're risking a lot just being here. Better keep my eyes open for signs of life.
All yours, Torgal!
So this place was no ordinary prison. And I doubt they'll have taken the creature with them when they fled.
Torgal! Kill!
Minimal loss of Waluda lives. And what happens when they run out of bearers? Even the Imperials take better care of their branded than that. They were feeding bearers to it. This is even worse than I'd feared. Nothing but a caching down here. Hopefully things are looking better upstairs. I should go and see how Doris is getting on.
Farewell! All yours, Torgal!
No lock downstairs. But I did find out that this place was more than just a prison. Something far more sinister was happening here.
I know. I've been reading some of these documents and... it can't be true, can it? Bearers die every day in service of their masters, but this is so much worse. Pitting bearers against a wild beast armed with nothing but their wits? And all in order to bring about more death. And not just those who could fight, but the elderly, children even. And those who wouldn't or couldn't were disposed of. Whatever that means.
I'm afraid it means they were fed to the monstrosity they kept here.
Then we're too late. And I was a fool to bring you here.
Don't say that. Did you find anything else?
A key. But it doesn't fit any of the locks on this floor.
Perhaps it will fit one of the doors downstairs. There's a corridor I haven't searched yet. Finish up here, then come and find me when you're ready.
All right. I'll be there in a moment. If we don't find any survivors, we've risked our lives for nothing. Take care. That creature might still be here somewhere.
see what we can find down here. A survivor. And she sounds close.
Who are you?
There's no need to be afraid. Are you alone? Are there any other survivors?
Some of the guards. They're still here. But something's wrong with them. Everyone else was eaten by the monster.
Of course there were.
Thank the Founder.
It was worth our coming. But I'd rather we didn't linger. Are you ready?
Ready when you are. You poor thing. He must have been terrified.
Did Chadwick send you?
What?
He fought the monster. Distracted it so I could run away. He must have sent you. He promised to free the others too. Where is he? He opened your cell, didn't he? You wouldn't be here otherwise.
Chadwick.
Was that?
The monster's back! Chadwick, help!
We have to get out of here.
Doris, keep the girl safe.
All right. You put that bearer-eating bastard in the ground. I'll look after the girl. You teach that thing a lesson. You're safe now. We won't let it hurt you.
It's out there waiting for me. I can't let it live. Not if it's got a taste for bearers. The beast will wreak havoc if it ever leaves the prison. I can't let that happen.
All yours, Torgal!
flow.
That's better. Nice try.
All yours, Torgal.
Finally.
Sid, are you hurt?
I'm fine. I think.
No.
What is it?
A diary. I gave it to Chadwick before we went our separate ways. He was here. Do you think that creature?
I'm sure he fought bravely to the last. The girl is safe thanks to him.
Chadwick. You fool.
Come on. We have to get her back to the hideaway. We don't want his sacrifice to have been in vain.
No. Of course not. I'll see that she's looked after from now on. It's the least I can do.
From what I hear, you've barely left the girl's side in days. I hope she's recovering from her ordeal.
She is. Slowly but surely. She's far tougher than she looks. I thank the flames we found her. If we hadn't...
I know. But we did. I'm sorry we weren't able to save Chadwick.
There's no need to apologize. Without your help, I would never have found out what happened to him. How he fought to the bitter end to save her. To save Haida Marie. That's the man I remember. The man I thought of as a brother.
I wish I could have met him. I'd like to hear more about your past. If you don't mind, that is.
Of course. You already met my former master. She trained Chadwick and I to do two things. Kill and obey. We were supposed to be sold to the highest bidder when the time came. But no bid was ever high enough to convince her to part with us. For years, we were her daggers in the shadows. But we could never quite shake our doubts about the things she made us do. And then, one day, we just couldn't do them anymore. So we escaped. But staying together was out of the question. They would have found us too easily. After so many years of training, the pull to serve was always strong. It scared me to think he might have taken another master, become a dagger in someone else's hand.
But even in captivity, the battles he fought were his own. And he died not as someone's tool, but as a hero.
Haida Marie is proof of that. Bearers can cast off their shackles. And the Cursebreakers will show them how. I'll fight until my dying breath to see it done. For Chadwick, and for all of us.
Thank you, Doris. We'll be counting on you. It's usually me making demands of Hippocrates. I wonder what this is about. Lawsman Hippocrates. I received your note.
Ah, yes. I expect you're wondering what this is all about.
You spoke of making amends with Dion, but I can't imagine what for.
Then I should begin by telling you that I was once his tutor. This was some years ago, of course, before I joined Sid in his hideaway. At that time, I was counted among the foremost scholars of Oriflamme, and was accordingly invited to the palace to supervise the young prince's education, all to ensure that the future emperor had a firm grounding in, well, everything an emperor should. History, religion, commerce, government. Alas, our time together was cut short when Dion left to join the Dragoons, his studies no longer being deemed necessary. I had not expected to meet with him again, least of all here.
Have you spoken with him?
No, I have yet to find the right moment. His Highness always seems so preoccupied, especially when alone. I would not wish to disturb his ruminations with idle words of greeting, not when I know he dwells upon the evil Ultima had him commit in the Dominion.
The guilt weighs heavily on him, I know. But as you say, that was Ultima's doing. Surely you can't blame yourself.
When I first met him, it was not guilt, but his people's expectations that weighed heavily upon him, and I did nothing to ease that burden. He bore it alone, until the day he could not bear it any longer. It is one of my greatest regrets that I only ever offered him my wisdom, when what he truly needed was friendship. The blame for Dion's transgressions lies not only on his shoulders, but on mine.
I see. I'm ready to help you in any way that I can.
Then I beg that you bring me a wild wyvern tail. Apothecaries across the ages agree that even to glimpse such a flower is to be granted inner solace. Fabulists and fraudsters all, of course. But there is oft a seed of truth to be found where even the most outlandish opinions align.
Well, it can't hurt to try. Where can I find this flower? And how will I know it?
You have seen cultivated wyvern tails before, I trust. The lily-white blossoms from whose roots the poisonous ink for the brand is distilled. Well, those which grow in the wild differ only in their purple hue. The harsher the environment in which they are raised, the deeper the colour. There is a waterfall in Rickmal's roost across the strait, where the flowers once grew in abundance. Whether they still survive there, I know not. But try as I might, I can find no likelier location.
It's all right. I'll find you a wyvern tail one way or another.
Thank you, Clive. And please, be safe. I was wondering when next you'd visit. Despite scouring the shelves, I have found only one reliable reference to a place where wild wyvern tails are known to have grown. But it is in Waloed, by a waterfall near Rickmal's roost, as I told you. I dare not ask that you undertake such a long and perilous journey on my account, of course, but were you to find yourself in the area, go safely.
Faster!
All right. Seems this place has been flooded twice over. Purple flowers blooming next to a waterfall. Shouldn't be too hard to find. No mistakes. Too slow.
Awaken!
Nice try.
Kill! Now Torgal! Torgal, kill! All yours, Torgal! Now Torgal! All yours, Torgal! Torgal, kill! Now Torgal! Torgal, kill! Now Torgal! Torgal, kill!
Here they are. Might as well pick enough for a bunch, I suppose. Oarsman, I found the flowers you were looking for.
You did?
I think I did.
You did indeed. My dear boy, thank you.
You wanted to make Dion a gift of one, did you not? Shall I invite him to join us?
Oh, I don't...
It's no trouble. I'll go and fetch him.
Knowledge hoarded is knowledge lost. Thank you again, Clive. I know how hard these flowers must have been to come by. Go safely.
Your Highness, would you do me the honor of accompanying me?
No. It is time, then.
No, only to the shelves. Our lawsman has something he'd like to give you.
Master Harpocrates. No. I dare not show my face before him. Not after everything I have done. I have taken countless innocent lives. And ruined countless more. All because I was weak. I have sworn to atone for my crimes or die in the attempt. But were I to meet with him again, and see in his eyes what I have become, I fear that my resolve might falter.
Then that is all the more reason to do it. Test your resolve. Prove to yourself, and to him, how strong it truly is.
must, at the very least, offer him my gratitude. Very well, then. Take me to him.
Follow me.
Even now, I hesitate to approach him. What must he think of me?
You'd be surprised.
Master Harpocrates, pray, accept my apologies for leaving your tutelage before my studies were complete. Your lessons opened my mind to a world quite unlike the one I had imagined from within the gilded confines of the palace. And I shall be forever grateful for the efforts you made to enlighten me.
Lift up your head, Your Highness. The deeds of youth require no apology. That you took the time to visit me says much about the man you have become. Now, there is something I would like to show you.
Is that a wyvern tail? The color is unfamiliar to me.
Because it is unique to those found in the wild. Something in the harsh environment in which they grow lends them this striking hue. Their roots are indistinguishable from those of their hothouse cousins, but once they bloom, the difference is immediately apparent. In this flower, I see you, Your Highness. Its roots were the roots of a wyvern tail, with all that implies. But they do not define it, just as yours do not define you. I want you to have it, that it might remind you of this truth.
Master Harpocrates, I would ask of you a service. Keep your gift until I have fulfilled my duty to the realm, for only then shall I be deserving of it.
As you wish, Your Highness. I shall await your return.
Our roots do not define us. No wonder my stepmother didn't like him. For reuniting me with memories I had thought long lost. I shall not forget this.
Thank you, Clive. Were it not for you, I fear I might never have found the right moment to speak with him. Not to mention the wyvern tails. I shall plant their seeds that I might not disappoint His Highness upon his return.
I hope the soil in the hideaway is to their liking.
Why, these flowers bloomed in the bleak, black wastes of Waloed. I'm sure Nigel's yard will suit them to a T. When it comes to expressing one's gratitude, I find that words are seldom sufficient. Here.
What's this?
A stolas quill. Or more precisely, my stolas quill. 'Tis said that an owl's feathers are steeped in the wishes it hears over its long lifetime. All those words just waiting to pour out onto the page. So consider this my wish for you. That one day you may put down your sword and pick up that pen.
Well, when that day comes, I'll certainly have a lot to write about. Thank you, Harpocrates. It shall have pride of place in my chamber.
I was wondering when next you'd visit. I well recall. He truly believed. It will take forgiveness from himself. Thank you for indulging an old man.